Главная добродетель, которую мы должны развивать на пути единства, это сопереживание.
তবে কেবল প্রতিদিন মানুষের প্রতি দয়া করার মনোভাব হিসেবে নয়,
sino también reconociendo y comprendiendo las distintas sabidurías que existen a nuestro alrededor.
आप दुनिया को व्यापक दृष्टिकोण से देखिए.
این ما را از ترس‌های بی‌اساس، قضاوت‌های خودخواهانه و مواضع سختگیرانه دور نگه می‌دارد.
Nous permettant de mieux comprendre l'esprit humain, donc ce que nous sommes vraiment, l'unité.
And the beauty is the unity.
Mientras, el centro de Europa se desgarraba por asuntos político-religiosos en la Guerra de los 30 años, durante el siglo XVII, Ámsterdam florecía gracias al comercio desarrollado por la burguesía neerlandesa, que además propiciaba la llegada de numerosos intelectuales que buscaban un clima de tolerancia y refugio al pensamiento libre. Así, Descartes, Locke, Baruch Spinoza, entre otros, encontraron en Ámsterdam su hogar. Por esta razón, el empresario Jost Riedman inició en esta ciudad hacia 1958 una biblioteca privada que abrió al público general en 1984, llamándola Biblioteca Filosófica Hermética, también conocida como Biblioteca Riedman. El devenir de este espacio llevó a convertirla actualmente en la Embajada de la Mente Libre, inaugurada en 2017 junto al autor del Código Da Vinci, Dan Brown. Según Riedman, en este espacio que él llama también la Casa de los Libros Vivientes, cada volumen cuenta la historia del espíritu humano de una manera diferente, pero reunidos expresan la unidad en la diversidad. Hoy, la Embajada de la Mente Libre se encuentra en el edificio de Ámsterdam del siglo XVII, Huis met de Hoofden, la casa con las cabezas, en Keizergracht 123. 6 cabezas adornan la fachada que representan a los dioses romanos Apolo, Ceres, Mercurio, Minerva, Baco y Diana. Y en el corazón de este precioso lugar se encuentra su fascinante biblioteca que posee una colección de más de 25.000 libros sobre hermetismo, rosacrucianismo, alquimia, cábala, misticismo, gnosticismo, esoterismo occidental y estudios religiosos. Junto con ellos se encuentran numerosos manuscritos y tesoros como el Corpus Hermeticum, el Atalanta Fugiens de Michael Mayer, entre otros. De esta forma se constituye en Ámsterdam la Embajada de la Mente Libre no solo como una biblioteca, sino un lugar de reunión que alberga libros pertenecientes a 2000 años de sabiduría que conversan con todos quienes deseen conectarse hoy libremente con el arte, la ciencia y la espiritualidad de todo el mundo. En este precioso capítulo de nuestro canal de YouTube Caminos, tendremos el privilegio de caminar junto a Lisa Holmes entre los pasillos de la Embajada de la Mente Libre, conociendo sus ideales filosóficos, experiencias históricas y apreciando sus hermosos rincones, espacios, símbolos y espíritus que viven en comunión con sus visitantes. Bueno, nos encontramos con Lisa Holmes, representante de la Embassy of the Free Mind. Ubicada en Ámsterdam, la Embajada de la Mente Libre es un espacio inspirado en la biblioteca filosófica hermética fundada por Josh Ritman. Hoy, la Embajada reúne más de 25.000 libros pertenecientes a 2.000 años de sabiduría que transmiten un conocer universal y constituyen en su hermoso edificio, que estamos viendo ahora, un lugar de encuentro donde poder conectarse libremente con el arte, la ciencia y la espiritualidad de todo el mundo. Muchas gracias, Lisa, por compartir con nuestro canal Caminos algunas de tus reflexiones y sobre todo la belleza de la Embajada de la Mente Libre. De verdad, un honor, un placer y muchísimas gracias. Te envío un abrazo pero fraterno, muy grande.
Gracias. Muchas gracias, Javier. Estoy muy feliz de poder compartir este lugar porque, bueno, es todo muy especial, pero si no lo puedes compartir, no tienes nada. Al fin es lo más importante, poder compartirlo con el mundo. Entonces, me estás ayudando con eso. Entonces, estoy muy feliz también de poder hacerlo.
Gracias, de corazón, muchas gracias. Gracias. Chao, que estés bien. Gracias.
De nada.
To tell a little bit more about the Embassy of the Free Mind, which is where I'm at right now, I would have to start with the Biblioteca Filosofica Hermética, which was founded more than 60 years ago by Joost Ritman. He started collecting books, works, and scriptures all around Hermetic philosophy and several other ancient wisdoms, such as Gnosticism, ancient Egyptian wisdom, basically anything that, sources of wisdom, especially universal wisdom that in many different ways can be true for everybody. I think that is one of the most important core principles also of the Embassy of the Free Mind, that we believe that wisdom is only true if it's true for everyone, yet everyone has their own access to it. But the Embassy of the Free Mind was opened 4 years ago in 2017 by Dan Brown, in fact. He has also accessed our library. I suppose he maybe also did a little bit of research here for his books. And the Ritman family wanted to open up the collection that they have been collecting for, as I said, over 6 decades now, to open it up to the public in a museum form. So what you can see here is I'm in one of the rooms now, and there are a lot of art pieces, let's say, like drawings from some of the books. So back in the day, there was a lot of hidden messages, not everything was allowed. So some things had to be told in symbolism. So there's a lot. I think Javier is showing some of the videos that I made. So you can see some of the imagery that we have hanging here. And we call it also learning by images, because not everything is so easily understood just by learning it with the head. Some things you can also kind of understand intuitively, which is quite cool. So basically that's what the Embassy of the Free Mind is. There's a collection of more than 25,000 books, works, and scriptures, all revolving around also Rosicrucianism, Freemasonry, kind of like a mystical and occult perspective on it, astrology. And just trying to unite all these different sources of wisdom that try to connect humans to themselves and thereby to each other. So that's something that we really stand for here, which is also kind of one of the Hermetic principles of all is one. So that actually we want to go beneath the polarity of the mind and of the times that we sometimes experience, also today. left, right, black, white, you know, there's a lot of sides to go on, but we really believe in holding and fostering and radiating the unity beneath it all. So that's kind of one of the biggest missions that we have here, which I hope can be felt when people come here. And it's beautiful because there's a lot of different types of people that come here. Because of that, everyone kind of resonates in their own way, and that's one of the most lovely things about this place. I love this question because I've experienced it personally as well, that I started off being very much of a head person and I wanted to know everything. And, you know, I believe that I guess there was a lot to know, which of course I still believe, but I also understand that the more you know, the less you know. And what I find very interesting in the progress of science and ratio, as we say here, I'm going to take you actually to one of the imageries here because it explains it very well, that there is a world that we can perceive with the senses. We have this image here of Robert Flood's. So it's actually flipped right now, so you will not be able to read it. But here we have the world of the senses, which are, as you can see, quite rigid and fixed. And then here we have the world of the imagination, which is a little bit more vague, you know, there's a little bit more room to go beyond what can be perceived by the senses. And then ultimately here we have kind of this world of God, if you will, this like magical or kind of very difficult to describe impulse that we can all connect to, which is also what Gnosticism is about, which is one of the areas of the that we collect books on, and that you can have that connection to the divine, and that everyone has a receiver for that. And what I really find very interesting about this question is that if you go deeper and deeper to I guess some of the greatest intellectuals that we've been lucky enough to have walking around on this earth, the more and the deeper you go into them, the more you find out that actually they were very connected to that. And there's a couple of quotes that I really like. For example, Newton, who said, a chemist who does not become a mystic is no chemist at all. Or Einstein, in fact, the icon of science, if you will, or of the intellect, who said, the more I know about physics, the more I'm interested in metaphysics. So I find it's a very interesting realm to be delving into, because it's quite funny, actually. It's like a cosmic joke that the deeper you go into science, at some point you can no longer deny mysticism. So that's something that's quite funny. So once you start going into quantum physics and you start learning about the observer effect and how basically your reality does shape to your perspective, and that gets proven in quantum physics, which is also by some seen as kind of the most sophisticated form of physics, then you start becoming very mystical and spiritual again. So I think we are living in a very interesting age. To speak on astrological terms, we're coming out of the age of Pisces, which was 2180 years of a very ratio and ordered way of thinking, where we really enjoyed for many centuries the illusion of safety, where we think to know, because at the end of the day, of course, your senses are also just subjective and can only perceive matter, which as we delve deeper into quantum physics, we start to realize there's only a really, really tiny percentage of our world is actually matter, and it's a lot more that we can simply not perceive. So we're kind of moving out of these 2000 years of Age of Pisces, which is characterized by not really trusting yourself and needing a lot of this boxed question answer way of thinking to feel safe, I suppose, because it's also characterized by not trusting yourself and needing authority to instead of accessing your own source within, which is of course a fertile ground for dogmatic religion, which is of course something that has been growing hugely over the last 2000 years. But we entered the age of Aquarius last year, which is super exciting because that's the age of trusting yourself again, of re-establishing that connection to yourself. And that's also, in fact, what some of the greatest scientists and thinkers were very into. And like Einstein, like intuitive mathematics, who woke up one day and was like, E equals mc squared, and then spent most of his life proving that. So it was actually an intuition instead of a result of a lot of research. So I think we're in a really beautiful time where we are starting to trust ourselves again, starting to understand that intuition, just because you can't measure it with the senses doesn't mean it's not real, and leaving space for intuition and feeling, and not discrediting it just because we cannot prove it with the senses. So it's a super special time. So what we have here, to give you a little bit more again, an overview of what is actually contained here, besides all the books and the works and scriptures, we have, of course, as I was saying earlier, the pieces on the wall. And also really fun, we're making a alchemy lab on the second floor, which is, it's under construction, and we're also making a hermetic room, and it's we hope to have a lot of courses also here in the future where you can prepare your own tinctures and these kind of things in the lab. I'm going to show you one very nice art piece that we have here, which actually we're going to be selling soon as well, a copy. I don't know if that's allowed to put in there. But I'm really excited about that because a lot of people have asked if that was possible. And it's called, it's called The Rivers of Life. So I'll tell you a little bit about it, and then we'll film it a little bit because it's quite lovely. It's basically a collection of the faiths that man has had and that we have some kind of documents on. And it's really interesting because it dates back a lot further than some of the oldest religions that we think are the oldest, but actually there is a lot more. So I'm going to show you now. So this is the Rivers of Life in its entirety. So I'm going to get a bit closer so you can actually see what it's all about. Here we have the title, Rivers of Life on Face of Man in All Lands. So you go all the way to the top, and actually starting with the tree worship, and the lingam and yoni and the serpent and the sun and Helios and a lot of beautiful things. It goes all the way to 10,000 years back. So if we go all the way down, we are only going to find the birth of Christianity all the way down here. So this is where Christ is, and there is all of this before that people believed in. And then we go all the way down, and then we're here. This is one of a very beautiful one because it shows how everything is connected and kind of has this, origin that comes from something really quite beautiful, and then how it kind of split over the years, which is also wonderful. Just to see this long history of man and what they believed in. And to tell you the truth, I do think that one of the most special things about this place is actually the people. I know that might sound a little bit cheesy, but I am really, I'm moved every day by the people I meet here, by the people I get to know better, by the new people that I meet. This place seems to be really a kind of magnet, And I feel very lucky to be able to be in this energy field. The house itself is 400 years old, which is already in itself quite special. Next year marks the 400th birthday. And already 400 years ago, there was a freedom of speech in the freedom of press in Amsterdam, which is why there was a lot of, say, academic refugees that were coming here that were not allowed to express themselves where they wanted to. And in Amsterdam was already a place of centuries ago where that was allowed. So even in this very building. So that's really exciting. So to speak on what is special in this place, it's also the building, because it really carries that energy with it. So if I am to make the link again a little bit between the spiritual and the scientific, I love the quote of Tesla that everything is energy, vibration and frequency, you know, and that's where the secrets lie. So in that sense, just being in this building where with all the books and with Spinoza who came here and Comenius who came here and who actually lived here, and Rembrandt who came here, and it is a kind of really a beautiful thing to be in such a historical place. So that first of all also, but that attracts all these kind of special people from all walks of life. And there's not a lot of things that if you were to look at the people that you could say they all have in common, because everyone is so different and they're really like themselves. But one thing that I really feel there's a commonality is that there's an openness. And I guess that is what you get when you call your museum the Embassy of the Free Mind, that I guess free minds feel attracted to come here. But it's really like a byproduct of this place, and something that you can't really plan because it can only happen by itself, that really wonderful people come and they meet each other, and it's really something very beautiful to witness. And I feel very lucky actually for that. So for the future, a few things that we have planned in order to connect the individual to themselves. So as a lot of the wisdoms that we house here believe that everyone has a source within themselves, and you actually don't need to be told what to believe. It's just that you need to connect to your own wisdom, which it can be found in the heart, you say, the love wisdom. And as we move from this age of Pisces era that's very focused on the ratio, you know, the mind, to being able to accept beyond what we can perceive, which is also what can come from the heart, then you can allow your heart to be kind of like your unique blueprint, that can give you clues to where you should go in the form of intuition. And the mind in its polarity, as they say, is a great servant, but not really a great master, because it can do everything left, right, 180 degrees to the other side from one day to the next. It's very convenient in terms of, you know, executing tasks. Such as those coming from your intuition when you are able to access that wisdom within. But of course, if that is the master, then it can be a very confusing thing. So what we hope to do here is to, first of all, to inspire people that it is possible that you have the answers within, because the answers for you or me or anyone here are always going to be different. So it's unique for everybody. So it's kind of impossible to have to live according to the rules of others or institutes. It is of utmost importance that you connect to yourself. And how we try to support that is, well, we had, for example, a lecture a few weeks ago on by a Jungian psychoanalyst, and he spoke about the perspective that Jung had with psychoanalysis and alchemy, and we were given a couple of tools to recognize when we are actually using defense mechanisms and shutting down instead of opening up, or cleaning the chimney, as Freud used to say. And cleaning the chimney in Gnostic terms, we can say perhaps is straightening that antenna so you can, you know, get the connection yourself that is meant for you individually. And funnily enough, the more you connect to yourself and your individual purpose, the easier it is to let everybody else be as well, because you're like, wow, cool, you know, you have all the colors of the rainbow, and you can just be watch in awe that everyone is a different shade, instead of one needing everything to be or being shocked that something is different. Then you can marvel at the differences once you also embrace your own individuality and understand that differences between us that make us unique is actually something so beautiful. So how do we make that available? Well, we are also starting more and more workshops. So starting next year, we'll have online and offline. We have online and offline lectures always anyways. But we're starting also more workshops. We're starting the Academy of the Free Mind, which is very exciting. We are also integrating parts, nature into that programming. So we're going to be having, for example, taking a the Paracelsian perspective on medicine, which is like an old medicine which re-empowers the individual, you know, that you can actually listen to your body for healing, and start to understand nature again yourself, and not needing let's say the pharmaceutical industry as a middleman. So you relearn to have your own connection with nature instead of having this middleman, whether that's the church or the government or the pharmaceutical industry, kind of amplifying sovereignty and hoping to inspire the individual to trust themselves more. So that's through courses and lectures is what we like to do here, but also just by being a place where people can meet and converse with each other. That's some of the most exciting things that we're going to be have going on. We have the Rittman Research Institute also, which is always working through the collection to try to find and distill these the essence out of all these books, so that we can also bring them to the public. So we have conservationists, if that's the right word, who are finding ways to get the pearls of wisdom out of the books and to translate them into terms that a wider range of people can understand. So that's what the Research Institute is dedicating itself to. So those are some of the things that we have going on here. And of course, once the Alchemy Lab is ready, that opens up a whole new world of things that we can do, and we can really apply the wisdom practically there. So there's a lot of things to be excited about that are coming up. So Javier, I want to say thank you for inviting me to tell you and your viewers, hello viewers, by the way, about this place. It's very close to my heart, and I really believe in it, and I think it's very important that it exists, because I think a lot of answers or perhaps solutions lie within in connection. So, and a lot of problems that we have today lie in disconnection. So if we can be a place that can connect people to themselves and thereby to each other and nature, because once you not only understand but feel that all is one and everything is connected, then it's almost impossible to harm your fellow human or nature, because you understand that it's just creation harming itself with that understanding. So that is why I feel really, I really feel it in my heart here, and I thank you all for making it this far, for viewing until the end of the video. I hope maybe you learned something new. I hope to welcome you here. It's beautiful. We have a lovely cafe. We have a lovely garden. And really, maybe more than anything, we have really lovely people. So it's on Keizersgracht 123 in Amsterdam. It's quite easy to remember, I guess. Yeah, we are open. So any of you watching, if you ever make it to Amsterdam, I hope I will bump into you here and we can have a conversation. And again, I thank you for your attention. I know how valuable attention is, and so I'm very grateful that you spent a part of your day listening to me telling you about this wonderful place. And special thanks to you, Javier, for inviting me and for being so kind. Thank you so much.